Captain Nadal did a great job. We were blessed with tremendous troops. I'm going to back up a little bit. As Joe Moore had said, they had been training together for over 18 months. Many of them draftees. Many of them didn't have much time left, like 3 months before they were going to leave the Army. And some of them left the Army right after the Battle of Ia Drang. But they were tremendous troops, both the enlisted and the regulars. We went over by ship. And we went over as a unit, which I think the Army learned was a very good thing to have unit integrity. The guy in Vietnam was not like that, like Iraq and Afghanistan. They're sending units over there together, and I think that's very, very important. That's a lesson that they learned in Vietnam. But we went over on a merchant marine ship called the USS Maurice Rose. It was the officers had it kind of nice. We were in a 4-man stateroom. I was a young second lieutenant, and many of my classmates, because there was a need for lieutenants, were sent to the CAV. And it was the luck of the draw on where they sent you. Some of us, we all wanted to go airborne. One entire brigade was airborne, and they got extra pay, and that was kind of nice because we all needed a little bit more money. But one of my classmates, we're supposed to report right after we graduated from Ranger School. We had to go over and report into the first CAV that was forming up there. It was still the 11th Air Assault. They hadn't changed the name yet, or did the flag switch from the the first CAV that was in Korea at the time. And one of my classmates, he was hungry after 3 months of Ranger School, so he stopped at the steakhouse and had a steak, and was late in reporting in, got chewed out, but he got the airborne assignment, and we followed our orders and reported right in, and were assigned to the 7th CAV, which was a great unit, but we didn't get airborne pay. The other interesting thing is our weapons were new. Some of our weapons were new. The M16, we didn't have a lot of, you may have heard from some of the stories you read that it would jam up sometimes, and so we didn't have a lot of confidence in the M16 yet, but it turned out to be a very good weapon. So many of us, because we went over as a unit, or we went over and all of our stuff went with us in the ship, we loaded up some of our own personal weapons. My dad was a state policeman, and he gave me his .38 snub-nose pistol, a little pistol with a holster, and I kept it under my fatigue shirt, and I carried it with me for a while. And then he helped me sawed off a shotgun. It was a double-barrel, 12-gauge shotgun. We sawed off the barrel, and the barrel's about that long, and we sawed off the stock, and it was about that long. And I gave that to my point man because that seemed like it was a good, effective weapon for the point man. And there are a lot of other personal weapons like that too. But we had an accident. One of the troopers got shot in the buttocks with one of these civilian pistols. It wasn't mine. But General Moore gave the order, collect all the personal weapons. And from the chaplain on down, we turned in our weapons. And our weapons turned out to be very, very effective. My platoon was an outstanding unit. I had sergeants from the Korean War. One of my E6s, staff sergeants, was a medic in Korea, and he carried my aid bag because we were short medics during the Ia Drang. So I had a full complement of E6s, squad leaders, all with 10 to 18 years of service. My team leaders, my E5s, some of them were very seasoned, some of them were draftees. So I couldn't have asked to step into a better unit. And my Army training had prepared me well. My Ranger School training was the best preparation to give me the confidence to lead my men in battle. And so we were light, though. We had about 30-plus men. A full unit would have been 43. So we were light with all the things that go on, the kitchen police, the people that were going on that were getting ready to be evacuated or out of the area, plus some had some of the sicknesses. So I had about 30 men in my platoon, and they were great. One of a runner came over to me during the early part of the battle and said, Colonel Nadal has been hit. You're in charge. And I said, oh boy, just like in Ranger School, at a critical time in the situation, they change leaders. So I started getting ready, figuring out what I'm going to do as a company commander now. So I went over to the company command post, and there was Captain Nadal there, and I said, I thought you were hit, and I was ready to take over. I missed a critical key word, which communication is very, very important. The first word, if, I didn't hear. If Colonel Moore gets wounded, you're going to be in charge, because I would have been the next in command. Our executive officer was back in the rear and wasn't in the battle area. So Colonel Moore made the decision, or Captain Nadal made the decision to put me in charge if he got wounded. But we made 2 attempts to get to that platoon that first day, and on the first attempt, it was B Company alone, and Captain Nadal attached me to B Company. So I went up with Captain Heron, the B Company commander, on that first attempt. But we were getting a lot of contact and a lot of casualties, and so we pulled back to reinforce and get more troops. And then we made a second attempt to get to that platoon, because it was our policy not to leave anybody behind, and we were seriously trying to get out there to get them. And we didn't. It was on that second attempt that my action happened. We had 2 full companies online trying to get up to the platoon and taking. We had artillery prepping the front of us. Our own artillery and mortars were prepping, trying to soften the ground and to keep the enemy down as we were moving forward. But it was a very intense fight. I was wounded that first day after I had attacked the bunker with my grenade. And like I said, we had the 3 main weapons my platoon had were the M16. We had the M79 grenade launcher. It was a single-shot 40-millimeter grenade that it shot out there. It was a very effective weapon. Our grenadiers liked the weapon. And then our machine guns. Each platoon had 2 M60 machine gun crews. And we had, each of us carried each squad in my platoon had 2 light anti-tank weapons called an M72. It was a one-shot throwaway bazooka, and it was a very effective weapon. We didn't have any enemy with armor, but it could be used to shoot into the trees and produce a lot of shrapnel, or shoot at some of the anthills and pillboxes that are in fortified positions that the enemy had